And I think the ability to abstain from doing the easy, pleasurable thing that's right in front of you and picture a life that you can dream of, asking yourself if a better version of yourself exists, what that version of yourself is, picturing the plan to get there, and actually starting and executing on that plan, I think is such a rare thing right now, and so hard for people to stop and even think about, given how much constant distraction there is in their life. And that's what made me want to ask this kid. I was like, do you believe a better version of yourself exists?
I started to say, what if I can pull this off? When I first walked into the Navy SEAL recruiter's office, he looked at me and said, there's only been 35 African Americans in 70 years make it through. You know what I said to myself? What if I can be the 36th? It's the what if I can pull off a fucking miracle. What if I can become someone that no one thinks I can be? And just me talking about that, I have the hair going up on my arms because it makes me just like, what if?
What comes first, belief or action? Do you need to believe that you can do a thing before you can do it? Fake it until you make it is one option, but incredibly hard if you're introspective and have low self-belief and high standards. So what about make it until you believe it? Here are some lessons that I've learned. You can believe you're not worthy of a thing and still attain it. You can be adamant that your efforts are going to go badly and still succeed.
But someone being able to ask you, what do you want with your life? Do you believe a better version of yourself exists? And take responsibility to take that into action. And the reason that question to ask yourself is, do you believe a better version of yourself exists? Is because if you say yes, you are admitting that you have faith.
I have nothing to lose. And that was when, if everybody who's like at the bottom and feels like they have nothing going for them, reframe that as, I have nothing going for me, which also means that I have nothing to lose by taking action, it makes you a much more dangerous person. And I think that was the flip that I've had repeatedly shown to me in my life that allowed me to take the step that I was afraid to take.
You need to have faith a better version of yourself exists. You need to take responsibility for your own life into your own hands. Most likely you're not going to have a role model following you, telling you what to do, asking you these hard questions and pushing you in the right direction. You need to be the one to do that.
What are you so afraid of losing when nothing in this world belongs to you? None of this is permanent. And so the idea that we'd fear some permanent outcome from an impermanent existence, the longer I've been in the game, the more disgusted I am by that feeling. Nothing great was ever accomplished by someone who was afraid to try because of what they thought other people would think or say about them.
You know, if you ask the average kid, do you want to be exceptional? Do you want to do something great with your life? The answer is usually yes. But their actions very rarely align with it. And I feel like I didn't have anyone, and you don't need someone. The responsibility lies within yourself ultimately, always. But I do believe that like a role model could be a huge asset for pushing yourself to ask these hard questions and being like, if you want to be exceptional, what you're doing right now is average or even below average. And if you want to continue to be average or below average your whole life, then continue doing this. But you need to make a serious change and start doing hard shit and letting go of the easy shit, the comfortable, pleasurable shit.
You can have no self-belief and show up anyway. You can want more for yourself without knowing exactly what that looks like. You can doubt the process, question your talent, be uncertain that you're making progress, disparage your accomplishments, permanently feel like you're not working hard enough no matter how hard you work, never give yourself a break, fail to fully feel gratitude, be terrified of never reaching your goals, and still end up in a place that your 20-year-old self could not imagine.
Victims see their past as their fate. Champions see their past as their origin story. And so a lot of people are living through their origin story right now, or they're living through the very reason that they'll never be successful, but it could be the exact same situation. And the only difference between either character is the actions they choose to take.
Missing out on risk is that we have this big fear of this thing, when the reality is that if you risk nothing, you become nothing. You are nothing, because nothing ventured, nothing gained. You're not going to get what you want by never risking what you have. And the thing is that the things that we have aren't always material. And I think this is actually one of the big misconceptions of people who are starting out, is like, I can easily stand here and say, you were the most dangerous in the beginning because you have nothing to lose.
I didn't do them willingly. I did them because I was in so much fucking pain that I was boxed into a corner and felt like the only way out was through. In other words, when the pain of my circumstance exceeded the tremendous amount of fear that I was harboring about doing something different. until you start doing things differently, you're always going to get the same result. And yet we're so calcified around who we are and what we're doing, and this is my identity, and this is who I am, that it becomes very difficult to break free of that.
Struggle doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It usually means you're on a real one, right? Struggle doesn't mean you're making a mistake. Struggle could mean that you have a lot to learn to get to this goal. Pain isn't proof of misalignment. It's proof you're growing. It's proof it matters.
Unconsciously, things are wheels are turning in there, and your frustration is merely a sign that you're not aware of the progress that you're making unconsciously, and you have to push through it.
When the challenges of life come your way, you've got to find ways to increase your sense of self-appreciation, because if you don't, you're bombarded with negative stuff every day that beats you down, and you will find yourself unconsciously engaged in self-destructive behavior.
If you want an extraordinary life, which my definition of that is life on your terms. Like, what's my idea? It might be different than yours completely. Some people, it's 3 beautiful children, a white picket fence. Some people, it's building a multi-billion-dollar business. Somebody else, it's writing poetry, right? So instead of looking for somebody else, it's like, okay, what do you really want from your life? And aligning yourself with moving forward towards what you really want. And I think if you can do that in a way that also you feel serving others simultaneously, there's a sense of meaning in life that can't be replaced.
So you want to have an agenda for your life. It's necessary that you have some direction for your life. A friend at the National Speakers Convention gave us a presentation, and it really struck me. He was talking about when he was traveling across Europe, war and aggression, and he said at different points, soldiers would wake them up on their journey and ask him the question. And I posed this to you. The question was, where have you been? Why are you here? And where are you going?
But at the same time, everything that happens to us in our lives, we have to say, okay, how did I contribute to this? How am I responding to this? How can I make this bad situation better? What did I do to make the situation happen? If you want to find purpose, you have to take accountability for your life. And what I mean by that is like no one can bestow it upon you. No one can just give you a purpose. It is within you, and it is there to be discovered.
The part we can control is what's going on inside of us. And that we can control what we focus on. We can control the meaning. We can decide the meaning. We're the meaning makers, and we can decide what to do. And when we make those 3 decisions, we're in control of our life, and all the anxiety and bullshit tends to go away, especially if we're trying to do that to serve something more than ourselves.
And I always say you can't change your first thought, but you can change your second thought. So I notice a judgment as a first thought. Awareness. My practice that I decided for myself was I'm going to force myself in my head to say 3 things that I like about this guy. I paused myself in the moment. I found myself in a pattern that I don't want to be in anymore. What are 3 things that I like about this guy? And I said it, and then I went on about my day. And I started doing this over and over and over and over again. And one thing that I noticed is that my first thought started changing.
The distance that we can shrink between wanting to do something or thinking something should be done and it being done is a direct indication of our personal power in our lives. And so that has helped me basically think, don't be a powerless bitch. Just shrink the gap.
It's possible you've got some talents, some ideas in you, your ability to do some stuff that you haven't even discovered yet. And I'm suggesting that it's necessary that you get outside of your comfort zone. It's necessary that you develop some new relationships where you can learn from people. It's necessary that you do reading, that you do research. It's necessary, if you're already involved in some business, that you don't be satisfied with where you are. If you want to make it today, it's necessary for you to constantly look at ways of getting better.
The most important conversation you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. You wake up with it, you walk around with it, you go to bed with it. Eventually you act on it, whether it be good or bad.
And then you start realizing that you can do the thing even though you don't feel good about it. And you start hypertrophying it. But I think the ultimate version of the hypertrophy, when the muscle becomes a tendon or it just becomes fused, is when you don't even consider how you feel. It's just not a thought. You just do it.
And if there was a blessing in my life that I would say, some of the things I blessed with, hard work, discipline, what I was also blessed with? Being very naive. I had no idea how hard it was. But I believed, because I was like, no, like I'm gonna get better, and I'm gonna be better.
You gotta change your mindset. to know my whole job now is at 4 o'clock in the morning, I get the shit kicked out of me for 18 months. You gotta create that new norm. That has to be your lifestyle. You are the master of your own mind. Create that masterpiece. Be proud of yourself at the very end of it all.
You have the ability to outwork everyone in the room. That is your gift. And your job is to double down on that in all areas of your life. And this is what is going to create a trajectory for you. It tells it you're capable of anything, but the only way that you're going to get there is by suffering. Suffering is your success equation. I would do insane sets that no one else would do because I knew no one else would do them. And I picked the hardest, the event that creates the most suffering because that was the easiest to distinguish myself in.
But I was probably one of the 3 that were there almost every single day to try to continue to push myself to grow in these maybe physical areas that I was really behind a lot of the other people at. Because naturally, no one's good at everything. I mean, that's just not the way life works. We're all talented at certain things, but we can really continue to improve our weaknesses if we're humble enough to identify them, and we can build on our strengths.
If it's meant to be, it's down to me. I've got to prove that it's worthwhile, even if that means working for free, even if that means no remuneration, even if that means extra hours away from university, even if that means missing a few lectures, even if that means missing a meal. And that's a very real thing. So deciding that it's worthwhile, that it is important to me, it's important enough.
I'm going to cut off all other options. You know, I'd heard like Will Smith say there's no reason to have plan B because it distracts from plan A. Like, it's got to be the thing.
I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 5 years. People are like, what's your 5-year plan? I have no idea what my 5-year plan is because I don't know what opportunities are going to arise. I don't know what things I'm going to fail at. I don't know what mistakes I'm going to make. So how am I going to sit here and tell you where I'm going to be in 5 years? I can't. And if I did, I'd probably be shutting off some opportunities that are there because I'm too close-minded and focused on some 5-year plan. So I make iterative decisions about things. I move a little bit in some direction. I test, I get the feedback from it. Was it good? Was it bad? Should I put more resources toward it or not?
And the only way to move forward in life is by starting and just taking action. There's no book or a 12-step program or perfect way that it's going to organize things. And this sounds super trite to say. I know everyone knows that, but people still don't do it. Awareness doesn't mean anything. Action is all that matters.
How the hell do I have all this stuff? It's because I did shit earlier that didn't pay off at the time. It paid off later. So with that whole decision tree I just described, you can really easily choose if you're going to just do shit you like right now, or if you're going to do some shit now that you're not a big fan of right now. But future you is going to be like, bro, he's going to open up the fucking time portal, he's going to push a fist through that shit, and he's going to be like, blast that shit, big homie. And you're going to do this because you hooked up future you.
One thing I would say is, sometimes for the sake of your own soul, even if you don't like it anymore, finish the damn thing so you have a sense of, I finished it, I did it, I actually accomplished it. It wasn't much fun, but now I know what it's like to finish something. I'm not going to set that pattern in my life of having half-fulfilled dreams, half-assed kind of thoughts and wishes. I'm going to actually finish something to the end.
We finish everything. You start it, finish it. If you're going to do it to try and be the best. Not be better than other people, be the best for you. If you're in school and you're going to class, I'm not asking you to get straight A's. I'm asking you to get the best grade that you can possibly get.
Future you is your biggest ally, period. Past you is completely dead, by the way. Future you is gonna exist soon, and you're gonna wanna be a future you that you look back at as many points as possible in future you world to be like, damn dude, old me set the shit up good.
Yeah, Gwinder Bogle says your future self is watching you through your memories, whether it's with pride or regret, depends on what you do now.
All right, you got one life. And that one life, the goal for us is to live it to the best of our ability from the beginning to what's said the end. In the middle, in the beginning, middle, you're going to do things, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to fuck up. You're supposed to learn and then move forward with the understanding of what not to do. And when you move forward, life may get better, it may not, but somewhere along the lines it's going to click. And everything that I went through back here was supposed to happen so that now that I'm here, I'm able to go ahead with such a high level of knowledge, and I can make other people better. I can make myself better. I can do more for my family. Something happens.
Opportunity comes to you many times. Opportunity comes, you can either take it or remain scared of it. If you don't take it, it's gonna knock on somebody else's door. And it's gonna invite them to the adventure.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, it won't be easy. It will be hard because life is hard. That's what life is. And these challenges that you face, they're gonna do their best to take you down. Do not let them. Stand up, dig in. Line up those problems and confront them, face them, fight them. Do not let them bring you down.
This is your opportunity of a lifetime. Take the 5%. Go the 5% distance. It's gonna be scary as all head. It will drive you to the ground. You'll fail a few times. You'll fall on your face. Get up, keep getting up, keep getting up. And if you don't, you have to be happy for the rest of your life. If you don't take the last 5%, you have to be happy the rest of your life knowing it went to somebody else's door.
There's a payoff for bad eventually. There's a payoff. It can't be bad, but for so long. If you got the strength and the understanding to realize that, shit will change. It will change. It's impossible. It's just like poker. I don't know if you play poker or not.
I don't.
If you play poker, you can run bad forever, but it will eventually turn around once you grasp the understanding of the game. Eventually, it's going to turn around. Blackjack, you're never going to beat the casino, but eventually you're going to have a good run. If you catch a run, you'll do good. Get the fuck out of there. You waited long enough for it to happen. Here it come. Catch it, leave. Anything in life will eventually turn good.
The only place to go from failure is to win. You have to achieve failure. You have to take it that far. Nobody wants to go that far. It's too scary. But you know something? I got news for you. That's where winning is. It always has been. Nothing's changed since the 70s. Nothing. Except people train not as hard.
Dare greatly, motherfucker. Like, what's the point? Like, if we fuck up, we die trying. You know what I mean? Like, so what? But like, we're gonna still fight like hell to try and make it happen. You have to believe on some level that you can hit it, and you also have to believe even more that you will die trying. And I think that your commitment has to be to the effort that you're willing to put forth, and completely divorced of the outcome.
You don't have to feel good about it, you just have to keep going. The feeling will pass, but you will remain. You are greater than your feelings. Going to bed late and waking up early to work for a few days won't kill you. You're not going to burn out, you're doing what it takes. If you're one of those people that push work-life balance, just remember, the people who like working a lot don't care. I've never regretted trying harder at anything ever. Hard times last long, but an epic story feels like a lifetime.
The moment you take action, your life will change. The moment you take action, clarity replaces confusion. The moment you take action, momentum begins. The moment you take action, the right time finally arrives. The moment you take action, you stop waiting for permission.
Not only is it possible for you to have your dream, and it's necessary for you to challenge yourself to go after it and get better and leverage relationships that can help you get to where you want to go, but it's you. The major key to your reaching your dream, your living up to your greatness, your making your contribution is you.
I don't have enough because it's not over.
It's not over.
It's not over. So, you know, when you put a cap on it, you're putting a punctuation to it.
Mm-hmm.
And the ambition comes from seeing what's out there that can be obtained.
If you get to the end of your life and it's not what you wanted it to be, and you didn't create the life that you wanted to, make the money that you wanted to, have the success, the love, the happiness, travel the places that you wanted to, whose fault would it be? And I said, it'd be my fault. And he said, the problem with you is you're treating this life as if you're the victim, And what you need to realize is that everything that happens to you is your fault, and that your life won't change until you decide that you want to be the CEO of your life.
Like, what if everybody's chasing some sort of finish line, but what if you just today just made the decision, because they're all decisions, I've already won. That's it. I'm alive. I've got one good friend. I've got one, I'm sure every one of us can find something in our lives that we like. And this idea of already thinking of yourself as having won the game and the rest of life is simply, it's all after the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
It's anything you want to do after the finish line. Go have a good time. He said, what if you just decided you won already? And I was like, oh my God, everything's great.